you're a woman who feels like emotional safety in your marriage is disappearing and you don't know what you're doing wrong, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what's breaking it down and how to stop it before it costs you your relationship. You can love your partner, you can want closeness, you can understand what emotional safety looks like in a relationship, and still do things, especially under stress, that quietly destroy it. Because when emotions run high, most people don't slow down, they escalate. The most damage to relationships doesn't happen when you're having calm conversations with your partner. It happens when you have a conflict with one another. The most damaging thing to safety is your anger during conflict. This is basically the fastest way to kill safety in your relationship. Let's say you're in a fight with your husband, which is normal. We're all bound to have arguments and get into fights with our significant other. What actually matters is how we repair after a fight. So you're fighting and you're feeling very emotionally activated and hurt, but your hurt usually shows up as frustration or angry outbursts. When you let your anger take over, this is what it sounds like. You may start attacking or blaming your partner by saying things like, "You're so selfish. You always do this." Or, "You're impossible to be with. That's why nothing ever works with you. You're never happy. I don't even know why I'm with you." I mean, I'm sure if you're angry, your voice and tone is way more escalated. But regardless, these comments really do hurt and damage safety, even if you're saying it in a calm tone. Blaming, attacking, name-calling, devaluing your partner, devaluing and questioning the relationship. These are all very damaging things we do when we're angry during an argument. And there are absolute no-nos if you want to keep safety in your relationship. You can later apologize for these comments, but the impact will still be there. You cannot undo the hurt. He may forgive you, but his nervous system will remember it. And those words won't just disappear. Now, that this might be happening to you or your partner, but let's say someone is doing this to you. If they're doing this to you, probably you're less likely to open up to them and you'll have your guard up. The other things that can make you feel unsafe during an argument is if your partner leaves in the middle of a conversation, just storms out, shuts the door, disappears, goes silent. They may just be needing some space, but the way this lands for you is you may feel like you're being abandoned, that you're unimportant, and you end up kind of feeling alone in this. Again, abrupt, impulsive ways of dealing with anger can really undermine safety. In times like this, your nervous system doesn't hear that he might need space. It actually hears, "Good luck, you're on your own." Now, the second thing, and one of the most damaging things you can do, is stonewalling and silent treatment. I do have a specific video on how to deal with the silent treatment, and I'll link it up in this video, but let's talk more about how stonewalling undermines safety. This is when you want something, you're in conversation with your partner, and your partner goes all of a sudden completely silent. They stop talking to you, making you feel ignored and shut out. They stop engaging with you, and it just feels like they've emotionally checked out, leaving you kind of on your own. Sometimes the silence can be even more painful than your partner yelling or complaining. The emotional distance and the disconnection and the confusion is very damaging to safety. If your husband consistently shuts down, instead of reaching for you and repairing, you can start to feel unimportant, like your feelings don't matter to him. Or you don't matter to him. Like, I'm not important enough for you to stay emotionally present with me. It can also sometimes feel like a punishment. Like, if I assert myself, if I share a feeling, I'll be met with silent treatment, so I'm not gonna do it again. All of this will make you want to shrink over time and be less assertive and less open. You'll just stop reaching, not because you don't care or this relationship is not important to you, but because you're just trying to protect yourself and not feel more hurt. If you've ever felt shut out or emotionally alone during a conflict, write yes in the comments. It helps other women know that they're not alone. If right now you're in a situation where your arguments with your partner feel repetitive and you don't seem to bounce back and resolve them, and you're noticing these arguments are taking a toll on your relationship and how close you feel to your partner, then you absolutely need to take my relationship reset course. Because if you keep pushing things under the rug, small arguments will pile on and slowly make you feel distant and resentful towards your partner. If you want to protect your relationship and your emotional bond, you absolutely need to work on stopping these arguments. And this is exactly what you'll learn to do by taking this course. You'll learn how to stop arguments before they escalate and cause distance. You learn how to repair faster when these arguments happen, and basically how to protect emotional safety before the damage becomes harder to undo. You can take it on your own or with your partner. To sign up, you can go to my website, parisacounselling.com/relationship course, or you can sign up from the link under this video. The other thing that can damage emotional safety in your relationship is getting invalidated and dismissed. So this is when you share a feeling with your husband, and instead of being understood and validated, him kind of saying, I understand where you're coming from, I understand why you're hurt by that comment, I understand why my mother's comment made you feel upset, and I'm sorry about that, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make it right, and I've got your back. He says something like, why are you acting crazy again? Why are you being sensitive? My mother did not say that to you. I didn't say that to you. You're just exaggerating things again, and you just want to have a fight and an argument. Typical statements that show he's invalidating you are, you're being sensitive or overreacting. That's not what happened. Why are you making such a big deal? Even if they don't say something as harshly, what they're communicating to you and how this lands for you emotionally is, your feelings are not valid. Your inner experiences are not valid. You're kind of imagining things and making things up. So when your feelings are dismissed and explained away like this, you don't feel understood and heard. You start to feel alone in the relationship. And that hurts a lot. But let me be clear for you, your emotions are not a burden and they're not extra or invalid. You're just dealing with someone who doesn't understand them or doesn't have the capacity to understand them. Maybe they get defensive with you. Maybe they feel a lot of shame when they hear your feelings, so they deflect. But the impact for you, regardless of the reason, is the same. My feelings don't matter. But I want to tell you, trust your feelings. You're not being dramatic. Your emotions tell you what your needs are in your relationship and what's missing for you. There are signals that you need to trust. When your feelings are being repeatedly invalidated, your nervous system is basically learning it's not safe to need. It's not safe to want things from him. And once it's not safe to need, you stop sharing yourself. Again, not because you don't want to, but because you're protecting yourself, and you should. Because who wants to get hurt over and over again? Nothing shuts a conversation down faster than you shouldn't feel that way. The next thing that can undermine emotional safety is that your husband fails to show up for you in times of need. Emotional safety isn't built on date nights, him taking you on these extravagant trips and experiences. Emotional safety gets built in your moments of need when your partner shows up for you. It makes you feel like you can count on them. When you're sick, when you're in pain, when you're feeling vulnerable, when you're overwhelmed and just looking for comfort, they show up. When you want to rest and just need a shoulder to rest your head on, a small moment like that, and your partner turns away from you physically, that's a rupture in emotional safety. It means when you need my comfort, I may show up or I may not show up. Or when you're sick, your partner fails to check in on you, doesn't give you the comfort you need, doesn't ask you what you're needing from them to feel better, or may even act inconvenienced. These moments matter more than you realize. Because when you're in pain, basically your nervous system is asking, will you show up for me? And if the answer is no, safety erodes fast. Here's the pattern underneath all of this. Emotional safety doesn't get destroyed when people are bad. It's when your partner's stressed, the stress takes over instead of softness. Anger replaces vulnerability. Distance replaces presence. And defensiveness replaces care. And once this happens repeatedly, your relationship stops feeling safe. But knowing what undermines emotional safety is not enough to make your marriage feel safe today. If you want to rebuild emotional safety, you need to know how to handle arguments in a way that builds closeness rather than distance, and in a way that protects connection rather than damaging it. If you want to learn how to rebuild emotional safety in your marriage fast, so the arguing will stop and you'll finally feel at peace, watch the video on your screen now.